you stretch before you run? Do you stretch after you run? Do you stretch during a run? Do you kind of go for a warm up, maybe a couple minutes and then stretch during the run? Okay, how long do you stretch? Do you stretch for 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Is 60 minutes too much? Well, after hearing this, you may be compelled not to stretch at all. Folks, Brian Boyle here, and welcome to episode 176 of The Mesh Tongue. So, today, what I'm going to talk to you about is rolling instead of stretching. Now, who am I? Why should you care? My name is Brian Boyle. I'm a physical therapist. I've been a runner for just as longer than I've been a physical therapist, and I've been a physical therapist since a long time ago, 19 years to be exact. And running is a passion of mine, going from an athlete to a kind of physical therapist and coach for a lot of you actually, and many others. So I certainly love doing this. I love figuring this stuff out. I love telling people that they don't have to stop running, all right? That's the key, all right? Somebody goes, you go to somebody and they say, stop running. I would politely say, thank you, walk away, then run, and then go find somebody else that can help you. Maybe you can't run because you're hurt, but again, all things considered, I would rather tell you that you can run, find a way to make it happen, and then have you stop, unless you absolutely need to. So today, I talked about a little bit some kind of dynamic warm-up stuff in a previous episode. Didn't get a whole lot of views, so my guess is that people just didn't maybe understand what the video was about. So today I'm going to talk to you about rolling rather than stretching. So what do you need? Well, you can start off with something like the stick. They also make a tiger tail. There's a couple other variations. And before all of that, before the stick and the tiger tail, well, we had a rolling pin. Is this a little archaic? Sure. Does it look like you're getting ready for a baking some bread and cookies rather than actually going for a run? Absolutely. But it's effective and it works. So what do we mean by the roller? Okay. So what we're looking at when we're looking at something like this is an ability to dynamically warm up the muscles without actively stretching, or without having to go through a static stretch, and maybe reducing the elasticity in the muscles, which would then increase your ability to perform. So some recent studies have come out showing that if you roll, and a lot of times people think of rolling with the foam rollers, and there's nothing wrong with rolling with the foam roller. However, I think this is a little bit more portable. I think this is a little bit more, when we think about it, clinically based, and something that you could actually take home with you and do rather than in a research study. Because if you think about it, if you're at a race already, do you really want to get down on the ground if it's raining? Okay, to get on a foam roll to release the hamstrings or release the quadriceps? Probably not. Could you do it? Sure. On a nice sunny day, absolutely no problem. Rainy day, cold day, wet day, whatever, snowy day, probably not going to do it. So how do we use the stick? Well, the stick, is one of those that there's multiple variations of this. These rollers, each one of them is independent of the other, okay? So the theory is that if one area kind of stops or gets snagged, the others will continue to roll, all right? I don't know that one is better than the other than personal preference. The stick is more like, or the tiger tail rather, more like the rolling pin. It's got a flat surface. They have different lengths of these that, again, you can certainly use. You can find these online. You can find these at your local running store. If you've got questions, send those to me, Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at Company5K. It's the number 5K.com. I'll be happy to help you find the right size and model for you. But basically all you do is you grab a hold of something like this, and you're just going to apply pressure. Okay, now again, you're going to want to make sure that you get all sides. Okay, and I usually go for 30 seconds to a minute, see how things feel. If you feel like you're loosened up in that area, great. If you need more, you can always go back for more. Okay, and again, we can easily get the hamstring, we can get kind of into that adductor group, we can get into the abductor or the outside of the leg. Okay, we can quickly hit the calves, all right, again, kind of the outside of the leg, inside of the leg, and you can see that this has probably more practical use than trying to sit on a foam roller. Those of you that foam roll can attest to the fact that you love it, but there are some limitations, there's some variations. It's sometimes tough to kind of sit down and do things. Sometimes it just flat out hurts, so you can apply the pressure a little bit easier with this. Again, is there a better? That I don't know. It's going to come to personal preference and to probably if you use it, right? If you foam roll and it hurts, you're probably not going to do it. If you use something like a roller, a hand roller, and you're like, not too bad, you're probably going to be more compliant with it. Same thing with stretching, okay? A lot of people say, oh, I should stretch, and I don't stretch as often as I should. I think this increases the compliance of it and also doesn't have to possibly reduce that elastic recoil that we're looking for when we're looking for performance. So if you're got a race and you're static stretching and you've ever come out flat, chances are it's because you've stretched the muscle too far, okay, and now it doesn't have that elastic reserve to actually perform. So hopefully you find some value in this. If you do, please share this with your friends, your family, your training partners. This is episode 176 of The Mesh Tongue. Brian Boyle here, and please, whatever you do, don't go hurting yourself to come back, but I'll see you again next time. All right, take care.